and for Brad, just to make sure that we're coming across loud and clear, because it's going to be
Happy Wednesday to you, Dan. You sound good to me.
a little echoey. Yeah, I had some weird speaker stuff going on. Okay, so good. I want to first thank everybody for taking time out of their busy schedule. And we at Trade Ideas, we're grateful for your time because we know that we compete with so many people for your attention. And I just want everyone to know that we appreciate the fact that you're here with us, and we believe we have some really important stuff to say. So before we get started, let's do a quick disclaimer. Yeah, please, if anyone else of our support, make sure that your mics are off so that there's no background noise. Please.
So Dan, I don't see your screen.
Huh?
I don't see your screen yet. I don't know if you're sharing it yet.
Good point. How about there?
Voila, looks good.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's start with our standard disclaimer. Trade Ideas is not a registered investment advisor, so all the information that you hear from us should be taken for informational and educational purposes only. One of the things that I got into what's called a Twitter beef today. Do you guys know what that is? Okay, so I joke but not joke about it. The Twitter beef was really about Trade Ideas performance and how we beat the S&P. What I'm showing you here is we started our artificial intelligence engine at the end of December, and really the way we work at Trade Ideas is, and what makes our technology so innovative, and I'm going to get to the whole revolutionary aspect of what we're doing, but the bottom line is that we just want to, as soon as we're able to, we want to quickly give our technology to the user base so that we get feedback. So we put it out, out on the 31st of 2015, and this is the performance of the AI since it's been put out into the world, and that includes, again, from the beginning all the way to right now. And you can kind of tell that, as the S&P was falling, we really were catching some really nice moves to the downside, and that's the whole point of what we're trying to showcase, is that the market really does work in both ways, and our technology is ultimately designed to really help you take advantage of it. And that's what really Brad and I are going to be talking about today. One of the things I want to do, Brad, is I'm going to minimize the presentation, but I really want to talk about, now that we have these webinars, a lot of people come here who are not Trade Ideas subscribers, and what I want to do is I want to kind of make them understand that this is not like specifically, stock picking or, newsletter. There's so many bad examples of stock market education. And I think one of the things I want to convey is that what you're seeing here is this is an idea generation engine and platform. This is not like, again, this isn't Guerrilla Trades or Timothy Sykes. This is technology. What we are doing here is we are utilizing the best of the technology that's available, and we've built it. Because, again, we've been doing this since 2003 to try to help the individual investor, not hedge funds, not institutions, not brokerage firms, but to help the individual investor get an edge. So we've done this from the beginning in a way that, again, most of you who have been here before already know, which is giving you the ability to do everything that you might want to do to find ideas. But to really succeed on an enterprise, and maybe enterprise is not the right word here, to succeed on a mass market scale, we have to do something really extraordinary, and that is to build Holly, our AI engine that does everything that a successful trader must do. Homework, in-depth analysis, and position management. Brad, one of the things that I really want to discuss today is has to do with the conversation that we had with Steve Gomez and one of, I don't know if someone else, it was Jamie Hodge. Jamie was actually teaching me some things, and he's really good with the software, and philosophically speaking, he said something that I really wanted to repeat for everyone else.
What's that?
People often ask us, why is there, a 30-minute or a 75-minute or a 60-minute time frame on the exits? Shouldn't I just buy and hold? Or, I've been told to buy and hold. And we talk about the fact that, what we are forced to do with our service is, again, what makes it extraordinary is, unlike people who invest in the S&P and just hold, where the S&P, if it's going up, obviously, if you buy it, you will also go up. We have to handicap ourselves because we're assuming every day is your first day. Okay? Every single day in the market, to us, is the first day that you just got the artificial intelligence. That means you have no positions. You have to start from scratch. And you can build upon those positions. One of the things that I really wanted to make sure everyone knew, Brad, was that in trade ideas, even though the trades appear and exit during the day, almost every single one of the stocks has long-term potential. And again, regardless if it's winner or loser, okay? Winner or loser, there's still this potential. And so people say, so why did you pick these kind of, the instinct is, why did you pick these relatively short time frames? And the answer was this: you can always hold it longer, but you can never hold it shorter. In other words, if we made strategies that lasted all day, that would require you to always be in that position. And we wanted you to have the fluidity to be able to move your capital around. And also, again, think about the optimization and the learning that we do machine learning, artificial intelligence, that's looking to help you figure out what the best time frame is. So that's why all of these things look the way they do. And I want to just explain this endo-pharma trade that plays perfectly into this example. Now, we already told you there's winners and losers every single day. And whoever tells you that I just win or there's only winning trades, that's just snake oil. But what we're showing you here is, look at this endo-pharma trade, where it started at 7:12 in the morning. And again, we're on West Coast time, where we got in, we're able to basically ride this whole up move, and we exited based on, it's called the time stop. So our time said, hey, get out, okay? So when we exited, we were up 62 cents, and the reason, again, we set these exits up the way that we do is because this is what can happen. Not always, but this is what can happen.
Well, also, Dan, if I can point out, statistically, when the AI is going through and optimizing these strategies, it's looking at that time period for its optimization. But the reality is, the market's super dynamic, and you just don't know what's going to happen afterwards, which also, by the way, is one of the reasons why we provide some additional analytics like the spider charts and the compare count, so you can see what the market's doing, and you can get a flavor and idea, should you stay in that position or not. But even the daily, that's a possible long-term position that you could put on if the price, maintains itself and builds a base.
Well, that's where I want to go with how you use our technology in step. And what I mean by that is this, okay? So we got into endo-pharma right here, and we exited right here. And let's assume that you followed this trade, but you still like the idea. You still like, hey, I got into this, but endo-pharma, look at this, the potential. And this is what we always say, there is potential for it to, if the trend reverses. It has not yet, but we're speculators, we're venture capitalists. Okay, so we're looking for that potential. Well, let me show you what will be a simple sign of that potential. Okay, and this is how everyone who accesses trade ideas advanced settings wins in the market. So here we got into this trade, we got out again here, and this is just a great example. I don't want to make everybody believe that it's always like this. This just happens to be literally exactly what happened, and everybody watched it in real time. But here's where we are now. So I look at this area right here, and I go just above it, and I right-click, and I create myself another alert right over here, okay, at 53. At 35, I'll make it an even number. So this price is actually, if you look over here, 35, 33, is 33 cents better than our entry price. And I can say, was on AI, could go again. So here we are. We're combining, Brad, and this is really, to me, what is the crux of why this technology is so important. Is you just combine what you do. So the AI brought this to your attention. Okay, you possibly have traded it and got everything out of it. Hopefully. And if not, if this trend reinitiates itself, although the AI might not be watching it because it's watching other potential trades, you can still get in here and still catch this whole move. Okay? So this is one of the, to me, again, Brad, I kind of wanted to really reiterate my whole thing about Q&A is really use cases. I want to show people not like how you tinker with the engine, but I want to show them real results. What are you here for? We're here to make money, right? So I want to show them an example of how is it that people, again, not only grade themselves with trade ideas, but just make really phenomenal amounts of money. So one of the cases, of course, is the AI. And, this is the crux of our technology. It's this thing that only exists at Trade Ideas, and it's the only technology that you can watch trade in real time. Again, there's nothing else like that on the market. But as I've showed you with the limit alerts, there's this freedom to know that not only are you getting these great symbols, but anything that comes to your attention, like here's Apple, for example, right? And I've actually had Apple on my trigger for a while, and look at how well my trigger has done. So this, okay, just so you know, when you see a green line on Trade Ideas, that means you have set this alert up, and it has been triggered. So I set this up alert right here, and it's been triggered, and it allowed me to actually catch a really nice swing in Apple. This is what this whole thing is about. So anything that comes up to your attention, here's VSTM, a smaller stock, and it caught my attention in the after hours trading because it's right here. Something's going on after hours. I can just zoom in real quick, 2 seconds, and basically just set an alert right up here. Okay? Watch it. Again, you don't have to get too creative. I'm about the simple. I don't want this to be difficult. I want this to be simple so that when I look at it, I'm like, oh, I know what I'm doing. If this thing is going up here, well, then this whole trend, this whole large volume bar, it's just continuing. And I want to be in it because the percentage moves from 160 to 225 are gigantic. Okay? Let me show you guys all. So hold on a second, Brad. I want to make sure I pop the question panel out. So I'm going to put this up. Okay. CPXS. How many people in this webinar are familiar with this name, whether from Trade Ideas or not? Have you heard about this stock or what happened to it? Okay, so great. Okay, so for those of you who have not, I'll just give you a quick summary. This is a biotech company. And it's in the cancer business, as a lot of this came across. This is in the cancer game. And as it turns out, Steve Cohen, who used to run SAC Capital, but now runs another named version of SAC Capital, bought 5% of this company because, again, he is speculating and thinks they've got something great in terms of a cancer cure. But here's the beauty of it, and this is how you know, okay, that you're watching the right stuff. So see this green line? Let me show you something. So these are the Trade Ideas limit alerts that I have, and by the way, I'm going to be sharing all of these alerts with you, or rather with all the paid Trade Ideas customers. So look at this. You cannot hide away from your own work and your own audit. So CPXS, okay, look at this. No notes, but I was browsing through, I believe I was on a webinar, maybe, I don't know, I guess it was like 2 weeks ago, on February 21st, okay? I looked up CPXS, and I put in the trigger at 233, right here, because I was saying to myself, I want to see this thing go. What if it really starts to go? I mean, there was nothing indicating that it was, there was a huge move. It's kind of been in a range, but it piqued my interest. Okay, so I set this alert, and when it triggered, I was able to get into a little bit of this stock, and when it pulled back, I unfortunately sold almost all of it. I only had like literally 100 shares. But it doesn't matter, because the point is that this is what teaches you your instinct was right. And this is really what I'm trying to convey here, is that it's not a tool necessarily, like sometimes it's not like the complicated nature of a tool that makes it successful, but rather the simple nature of it.
Well, Dan, and when you compound that, I mean, exactly the simple nature, but you have to understand the market's dynamic, and it's just not that easy from a timing perspective, right? I mean, you spotted that footprint, and it just took a few days or weeks to develop. But that's the way trading is oftentimes.
Well, that's exactly right. And I'm putting the limit alerts here, and that's really what I'm trying to say. So for those of you that are new to Trade Ideas, we allow you to basically go and look up any stock, okay? Like, for example, MPLX. And by the way, William, we'll answer that question for you in a second. So here's a stock, MPLX. I know nothing about it except for, of course, I can quickly see acquires pipelines and other assets, so it looks like oil and gas. I can quickly see what's going on all the fundamentals that I need to know. But the bottom line is, all of that's somewhat reflected in the price. What I really want to see, and again, as an investment venture capitalist, for me, I'm looking at big picture stuff, right? So let me show you, again, some of the things that I do to make simple, high-powered decisions like CPXS. So here, I've got a fairly long-term trend line of MPLX, okay? And I'm going to touch these 2 points. So here you go. So what's interesting is MPLX, if you zoom back out, if you zoom right here, okay, what you don't know is that this little bitty candle was kind of important. It broke like roughly a 2-year trend line, okay? And you were only 2 days away from it. So that, to me, says, hey, there's a lot more potential in this move. So I definitely want to see that if it goes higher. So I'm going to right-click and create a limit alert at 30. I like whole numbers because, again, from experience, you know that there's a lot of vested emotions in whole numbers. And I'll say watch for continuation. And then I save it. So here it is. And again, we're 44 cents away. So this hit it and then pulled back. So I'm just looking for a continuation of this trend to maybe see if something will come to fruition. And that's really also the way that I'm working here is really the way we taught our artificial intelligence to do the same thing. So, Brad, I want to kind of transition. I want to talk about what it is that we really do with, like what separates us from a lot of other, service providers. And in my opinion, again, it's kind of like the approach. There's so many people that when you look at their, offering for financial services, what you'll see is either you right away there's two, I kind of look at it in 2 ways. There's the instant slime where you see like, hey, look, I've got a Ferrari or a plane or a boat, join me. Or there's like, hey, you can write your own algorithms. But the problem is, who the heck knows what algorithms to write? Nobody.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, why would a normal investor have any idea of what to look for, how to look for it? I mean, it's just a silly approach. So we really wanted to fill the void, the void specifically that's been put in the financial marketplace by all the kind of jargon that like, hey, buy and hold, or you can't beat the S&P, all this stuff. Guys, we're in a revolution. It's all changing. Really, long-term investing, what was long-term before is going to completely change. I mean, yes, you could still be in like McDonald's, and hypothetically speaking, McDonald's could still be around 10 years from now and you can make some dividends. But we are in the beginning of a technological boom that will literally put the dot-com bubble to shame. And we know this because we're experiencing it on the technology side here. That's what the revolution is. What we're able to do with the stock market, the kind of things that we're able to find. And look at today. I mean, again, just a perfect example of the benefit of having artificial intelligence as your guide, right? So 3, 5, 6, 8 trades today. Hey, although 3 were not successful, I mean, the rest were, and you had a lot of opportunity to make good money. So that's the whole thing. Considering that otherwise you would only be going solo or trying to piggyback someone else, at least here you have the most kind of unfiltered, pure market, not chasing, that's not the right word, Brad. What am I trying to say, Brad? What I'm trying to say is that there's no bias here, you know.
Well, there's no bias, but it's also giving you some information, right? It's telling you, God, the longs are working a lot better than the shorts. And the thing is, the AI is out there trying different things, and it's making sure it's got rules to manage if it's wrong. But it's there trying, and it's letting you know. It's telling you the long is it's the way to go today. That was the stressless way to proceed.
Right, and that's what we want to, you know. Let me now kind of step back for a second. So what I really wanted to convey on this webinar is really the 1-2 punch of AI and limit alerts. Okay, and also remember that we've completely also, like, we do little things that are hardly noticed. Like, you see this little black box? This little black box completely revolutionizes the concept of paper trading, because what happens is every single limit alert that you have that gets triggered is tracked. So you know if you're doing well or not. If this is a red number, then whatever it is you have in your eyes or your sights, like whatever it is you're thinking, isn't working, but you can adjust it too. So here's the thing. So we have these columns right here that let you know, and this is, again, just the beauty of simplicity. Okay, let me put that right here. So I can sort this data on which one of my alerts is doing the best in terms since it's been triggered. And here's an example of the dollars. I'm trying to figure out why CPXS didn't. Where's that thing? Okay. I mean, I was in the, sorry. I sometimes don't know how to use my own software. It's terrible. Like, well, you know, look at this thing. I couldn't tell that I was scrolled down. Okay, so here it is, resorted now correctly. Okay, ENGN was my best limit alert. Okay, and again, what I'm showing you guys is what I did. I can't fake it because there's a time stamp on it. And everybody who's been here and who's shared my limit alerts, you guys know that there's timestamp on this stuff. So you don't fool yourself. You can't fool yourself that way. Okay? So here's ENGN. You can see when I got into it, when I did it, and what happened afterwards. TRGP, and notice again, different sectors. Same thing here. You know, I was looking for a little move, and then it went. And obviously, I already gave everybody the example of CPXS. So we have 2 types of limit alerts, and this is what's really good, guys. So you can check. So here's what I have that's been triggered, but here's what you guys want. Here's the stuff that's working. So here are the working means they have not been triggered yet. Okay, so here's one in MXPT. And if you want to see one in Pandora, let me zoom out a little bit. Here it is. Okay, this is my trigger price that I would like to see, you know, it cross so that it sort of starts filling this kind of void. So one of the things that I want to do and I want to showcase is we are all about the latest in technology. So what we do here is we crowdsource. Well, let me rephrase that. We crowdsource strategies, so our very high-end users sometimes contribute to the base strategies that are fed into our AI. But what's even better is we do expert-level sharing. So watch this. Right-click, I hit Control and A. I hit Control and A. There it is. Right-click, and I'm going to share the 38 selected alerts. Copy. I'm going to paste them into the chat section of the webinar. So everyone in here who is a Trade Ideas subscriber with access to the odds maker, artificial intelligence, and all higher-end functionality, you now have my list. You have my triggers. I'm not competing with you. We are pack hunters together. There's nothing that, like, you know, people always say, oh man, if you have these great ideas, why would you give them to me? You know, because here's the thing, guys. I mean, you have to really understand the game you're playing. It's like, imagine that you're a great white shark and there's a dead whale in the ocean. You can eat away and not really worry about another great big white shark to come in there. It's not like that. Now, Steve Cohen, like that example in CPXS, okay? So just so you know, the reason this gap up is because he did a filing, and that filing hit on the evening of this day that he had acquired, okay, 5% of this company, totaling 2.8 million shares. So one thing that Brad and I did, and I thought this was really interesting, Brad, is we went and we looked at what happened after here. Because, you know, I got my trigger, right? I was triggered, and I triggered perfectly at the top. And what we noticed was that even on some of these days where it's kind of hard to tell, but over here this whole time, there was some above average volume being traded on this stock. So it's almost like
I mean, it was 25 to 30% above average. And the thing is, after the last 3 days came in and provided all that volume, it really did kind of skew the scale. So you can't see it now, but that whole down move came with some good volume.
So we were just talking, Brad and I were really having a philosophical discussion. We were saying, well, why are some of these, like, how could this potential breakout, why was it so hard to quote unquote predict, or what happens in reality? Well, what I want to do here is I want to show you guys just the mentality and how things really work in the real world, right? So imagine you're Steve Cohen and you're this guy, and again, I don't know that this is exactly what happened, but I'm just giving you a hypothetical so that you can understand what really happens in the market. So you're this guy, Steve Cohen. You're buying CPXS, okay? CPXS, look at the float, 22.8 million shares. That's tiny, okay? That is tiny. So he's buying 10% of the company when he bought 2.8 million shares. That's huge for him. Now, if he starts buying that kind of volume, this stock is going to go up. So he's going to have to pay more and more for his money. So somehow he's got to figure out a way to buy a bunch of it without really raising any alarms. So Brad and I, again, we just want to make sure you guys know we don't know this, but if you're a player like Steve Cohen at his level, it would be very easy to have somebody write a blog post about something negative about CPXS, a company that, you know, is very small, market cap of 308, well, had a market cap of 100, or actually less than at this level before he got in. So again, I'm not saying he did it, but it's very easy for him to put that in there, scare the people that bought this in, and acquire all the rest of his shares at this level. And look at the perfect execution. He's basically, you have to assume, to get this 2.8 million shares, and everyone's watching my screen, that's 10% of this. He's probably buying like when I sold my stock because I got worried because it was going down, I'm pretty sure he bought it. He was buying everything. And then the announcement. That's how the world works. Okay? I'm hoping you guys understand. So at his level of the game, yes, Steve Cohen has to be concerned about, you know, letting people know what he's up to, but not at our level. Okay? So William, you're saying, so how did CPXS pop up on your lists? Well, I look for patterns. You know, I have trade ideas set up to look for very specific patterns, and I have top lists and the AI that alert me to it. So obviously, I'm very ZYGN. Brad, tell Barry to, what's the symbol? Is it this one? What's the one? ZYN? That one? Yes. Okay. So I look for all of these kind of patterns where a stock, you know, starts to go up. And what I remember is that I was pretty sure that somewhere around this area, everybody in the Trade Ideas chat room and I were discussing the stock because it had come up on one of my windows. And of course, I went skiing and snowboarding, and then it got bought out or whatever happened. And so I'd simply, it appeared on one of my lists, CPXS, when it started to go up. So I have a list, and I'll show it to you.
Wasn't that your trend change lubricant window?
Yeah. So, well, there's kind of different versions of the trend change lubricant, Brad, so I wanted to kind of explain. So I kind of look for a stock that's coming down and really starts to turn around. That's the whole point of the trend change lubricant, okay? And that's really the way that it came up and why I, put it on my alert window. And what I do is, so tonight, just so everyone knows, tonight we have a Trade of the Week webinar where I really focus specifically on stocks. And WNR was one that we called out this week for kind of a special Trade of the Week where we really went into details about the trigger and all of that stuff, okay? But look at this, look at what's happening, right? I just want you to guys see that I'm not a genius that you can try to like formulate these like, oh, this is a rising wedge, but you don't need to even get so nitty-gritty, right? All you can see here is that, look, there's a big down move and it's starting to kind of change. It tried here, and failed. But just because it fails, that doesn't concern us because we have stop loss rules in that prevent us from holding anything that's losing us money. So what you would do is, and again, and as we did it, so here's Western Refining. I can say that you can still put an alert right here and say, looks really good. Save it. And now, again, you have a secondary trigger for Western Refining if it continues. So lots of stuff. By the way, one of the really cool things that we're doing now, in the next version, Brad, I think it's the next version, right? We're able to let you basically edit these alerts by simply drag and drop, where you can take this and then move it around the screen and adjust it visually.
Yeah, you'll be able to modify it from the chart.
Yeah. So, okay, let me bring in just again the trend change lubricant. Let's see here. Where did that thing go? Come here, you. I have so many windows open on my screen. Here we go. Okay. So just again, a quick snapshot, and then we're going to bring Scott in, and then Brad and I will really dive into the questions. So trend change lubricant is this window. Okay, and the name is really because this is the lubricant. It's this formation. This is lubrication for a continuation of an upward trend. And again, we put in specific parameters in here so that you don't have to worry about it, really. Okay, there's a certain position in range, and a certain position in the 20-day range. It's almost that simple with a little bit of other stuff mixed in. But let's look at it real quick. So NWS News Corp. Okay, so here's how we do it. Now the AI is hunting for this during the day, but you don't have to wait for it. So I right-click right here, or you can be in this window. And I can just say, I'll do the whole number again. In fact, sometimes you want it to really cross the whole number so that there's no pullback. Again,
so hopefully there's no
simple.
Pullback.
What?
I would say, so hopefully there's no pullback.
Right, but hey, but Brad, I'm glad that you said that. But what if you just said, you know what? I missed it. I want it on a pullback. You can do that too. So watch. You can right-click here, and instantly the software knows that because you're lower than the price, that you're looking for it to go come down to the pullback. And here I say, came down to my pullback. I mean, what you're doing here, guys, is you're programming, but without any programming. This is the real easy language, not the stuff that you see at TradeStation where it's if, then, bar, equals, minus, cosine, dollar sign, help me, consultant, and you just paid $5,000 for nothing.
So Dan, this is a really good example of a very interesting top list. You know, top lists can be really simple. They can be your window that shows stocks that are the biggest gainers for the day on a dollar basis or percentage basis. But you know, they can be a lot more. And we've added all this special color coding to really highlight certain things and let certain values stand out, so you can really draw your attention to some interesting stuff. But what you've got here is you've got a pretty simple top list, like you said, but you've brought in a lot of our different columns, which give you the ability to sort and really analyze and look at it. What it does is it brings different symbols to the top of that window that you can then look up on the chart and then, you know, populate with your limit alert.
So let's talk about, you know, what I just did. I resorted our list. And again, and we have data points that other vendors don't have as readily available or as easily manipulatable. So one of the things that we have is the percentage of float. And a float is how many shares are out there that are being traded by all of us, right? So obviously, if a large percentage of the entire float is being traded, I'm going to give you something really advanced here. Something's going on. Brad, did you get that? That was pretty high-end stuff. See how I figured it out?
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Something's going on because a large percentage of the float was traded. Again, listen, we don't need to worry about what it is. All we need to worry about is, can we take advantage? And let's talk about how we would do it. Okay? Once again, a simple bracketing system gives you everything that you need to know. So one of the ways, so we're at 1893. So I can right-click right above here, and I can once again say, continuing higher percentage of float. See, like again, you can make these notes so that instantly when you see it again, you know why this was interesting. Percentage. So now I know. Okay. So here's where I am. But as Brad said, I'm not a genius. I don't know it's going to go up, and I'm willing to wait. And so I'll say percentage of float pulling back. Okay? So people often talk about that, this whole pullback, and you know, and what I want you to, the reason that we're doing this, and again, I'm here in the Q&A. What I'm trying to do, guys, is I'm trying to show you technique and style that's going to make you money, and it's also simple, right? I'm not talking about, you know, ridiculous things like being able to predict when someone's pumping a stock or not. I mean, that's all stuff is completely random. We're talking about profiling like FBI agents, you know. We're trying to make high-level assumptions and then take advantage of those assumptions. Why am I bracketing? Well, I'll tell you. Because remember the lesson we just learned from Steve Cohen. The funny thing is, this is the part where I'm telling you in hindsight. Let's say I was a little bit smarter, okay, at the time that I did it, and I did exactly what I'm doing now, where I said, hey, okay, here's the thing, but you know what? What if I miss it? Pulling back. Try some more and save, okay? So this would have really helped me catch the whole move, okay? That's, you know, to me, is what bracketing does, and you have the freedom to set multiple alerts with the trade ideas, and that's why we're like, I mean, that's why our system is so good at what we do. There's nothing in this world in finance, not in Bloomberg, not in TradingView, that's going to give you the kind of advantage to capture alpha in the market than trade ideas. And I'm hoping that a little bit of what I'm demonstrating today makes you see what I'm talking about. Brad, let's bring Scott in real quick, because I mean, we have so much, like this hour goes by too fast, in my opinion. I want to answer more questions. I want to then also talk a little bit about the channel surfing, and once again, how you utilize, why the limits are so critical to the surf. So, Scott, come on back in from your hiding place.
All right.
Don't be afraid, Scott. Don't hide.
All right. So, you know, did you already cover the these? I have a guest here in the office, Steve Gomez. You can go ahead and say hi.
Hey.
Yeah, he's stopping and rolling by.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah, so Trade Idea is a software as a service company, and our primary subscription model is the 99 per month monthly basis, or you can sign up for a year at $888 and save a lot. That includes all of your real-time data. It includes exchange fees, all of that stuff, and also you get access to the charting. Real important though, when you sign up, go sign up for the training. Go to the support section, click on training, and pick your preferred time and day. And we'll go ahead, and it's a great way to get you a head start on learning how to do all your layouts, set up your windows, all that good stuff. Now, to access the AI channel, limit alerts, backtesting tool, to get access to Holly, that's a one-time purchase of the AI channel odds maker license, and it's $1,100. And you have that for life. So as long as you also have an active Trade Ideas subscription, you have access to all the premium features we offer. I think it's time probably for y'all to ask your questions, or they're going to demo some more stuff, and then I'll come on. And those of you who do not have a Trade Ideas subscription yet or access to the AI or odds maker are going to want to hang out to the very end. I'll give you guys a good way to get on board and save. Dan, Brett?
Okay. Fantastic, Scott. Thank you very much for the intro, and Scott will come back and again give everybody an opportunity to take advantage of Trade Ideas. So, Brad, let's review the cues. I mean, and again, guys, for those of you who aren't customers, this is a great opportunity to ask questions, but customers as well. Tell us what you want to know.
So Dan, Jose is asking about our integration with the social networks and a way to share ideas. And I know you do that quite a bit. Maybe you can demonstrate that.
Okay, sure. I hope this is an easy way to do it. So here I have SM as a symbol, SM Energy. So I can right-click in the symbol, and I can send that to, so you can do a lot of different things. You can send it to, of course, your chart window, your single stock windows. All of that's already defaulted. But here, you can send it to Twitter, okay? And I'm going to tweet that now. So my tweet was successful. I've already configured all of this, but there's a simple path where you set all of that up, and it's that simple. And
it prompts you. If you haven't done it, it prompts you at that point.
So again, send to, and you can go to Twitter, Facebook, StockTwits, or any place on the web. I mean, Brad, this part right here is almost like its own Q&A session at some point.
Well, it is. It's something like if you wanted to link, let's say, to a Yahoo page, Yahoo Finance. It basically allows you to link it right to the URL of Yahoo, and it allows you to get kind of sophisticated. For instance, if the URL has Microsoft in between it, it allows you to really customize it. So you could just go ahead and click on a symbol, and it'll update that page with your charts and the other stuff.
So I can right-click, and I can again send to web. And in a second, and here it is. So again, and you can do this this is an example of Yahoo, but you can do that for Reuters, for Bloomberg, for really anything. And Brad, maybe next time, like when we're a little bit more coordinated, you'll have a Bloomberg set up, and you can just give me the link, and I'll show people.
Yep, yeah, we can do that. So Dan, there have been a couple questions come in that are really asking the differentiation between our standard product and the premium product. What's included with the $99 a month subscription, and what's included with the add-on that we get?
Right. Okay. So let me, Brad, if I can address that real quick. It's a great question. Let me move this a little bit and say, okay. So let me switch channels. So when Trade Ideas was first brought to market in 2003, okay, a lot of the higher-end functionality just didn't exist, first of all. I mean, we've been developing and creating all this stuff kind of, as we continue to evolve the company and the business. So the difference between our premium products and the regular products is this. With Trade Ideas Pro Regular, you get all of the channels, you get all of the customization, you get access to everything, okay? But you do not get access to the artificial intelligence, which again is the thing that's kind of like your Sherpa. Brad, I'm so glad that I reminded myself, you know, I was on, does anybody here read Mental Floss? Does anybody know what that is?
That sounds interesting. I do not.
Maybe, Brad, you can Google it while, okay, so Mental Floss is a magazine, and it's an interesting, yeah, Mental Floss. It's an interesting magazine because it just tells you all sorts of stuff that, like, you probably wouldn't know, okay? So one of the things that you don't know is that, and again, I don't remember his name, but there's a guy that has all the credit for summiting Mount Everest first, okay, the explorer that did it. But what you don't know is that he wasn't the first to really summit Mount Everest, because who was the first, Brad?
I don't know. I'm helping somebody. I'm sorry.
You should have been paying attention to this whole thing.
You said Google it. I was going to do it later.
Okay. The real person who was really first was his Sherpa. So that's what we're saying. Our AI is your Sherpa. It's getting into trades. It's showing you what's working. It's giving you a sense of expectations. You know, this is the difference between the premium product and the not premium product. I mean, I remember, Brad, when I went and I started to learn how to trade, I mean, in 1995, okay? I had to learn everything from scratch. You know, I had to get in, lose money, make some inference, and hopefully make some deduction and keep going and succeeding, okay? But imagine if you were always around somebody who you knew had expertise in managing money, was never hungry, and did a million practice trades every evening as homework. Wouldn't you want to be cheating off of them? That's
Absolutely.
what this is. This is the ultimate device where you should be cheating. So we are, again, and this cheating, it still helps you to see that even with the best cheating in the world that you can have, you are not always going to be profitable. That's really the thing that you need to know. So the premium product, this AI, the limit alerts. There's some other stuff that's called, let's see, let me show you, tools, wait, new, TIQ, RBI, and GBI. So here's what these are. So I obviously have a very advanced version of trade ideas that nobody else has, except for Brad. And I can assure you none of you need the micro proxy debug dump. That sounds as bad as it sounds. But this, the TIQ, RBI, and GBI is one of our latest technological offerings where we're completely, basically, for a year and a half, we've been trying to put trade ideas out of business by saying, what would we do to compete with ourselves if we were our own competitor? And TIQ is that. And these windows here are red bar ignore, green bar ignore. And again, they're kind of customizable windows that so you can see what a very specific type of pattern. And in our trading room, which again, I want to bring up this this part of the presentation. So one of the other things that that's really differentiates us, that not only did we create a technology that's you know first rate and the best at helping traders, but we also have one of the best communities, and the reason is this. Okay, so our trading room, this room right here, where any one of you here can come in, sign up through your email and watch, is free. It's free because it's subsidized by Trade Idea software in a way. Whereas other chat rooms, and again, we partner with a lot of educators, and there's great educators out there, but if you want to get started with something that's free and has huge expertise in it, Barry Anderson, Steve Gomez, Jamie Hodge, some of the best traders out there who've been with us for over a decade are in this room. And they're constantly interacting with other traders and new and old. And it's an incredible community where you not only are, again, not only is it free and you don't have to be a subscriber, but you can really learn the ways to properly get into this kind of more active, engaged investing and not have to suffer through the kind of losses that that I had to suffer through to be successful. It's like you have this proxy, this mirror that you can always, if you are in a trade and all you have to do is tell someone that you're in it and what's happening, and instantly you're going to get the feedback that if you're doing something poor, like, what are you doing? You know, and you will get that help. And again, free, F-R-E-E. This is free for you. You do not have to own the AI. You don't have to own trade ideas. We are just this is our part to give back to the community, you know. And it's also every day, and there are people here, you know, they can comment. Every day is really mostly about alpha. I mean, sure, of course, we talk about our artificial intelligence in there and the limits, and we share features and stuff, but you're not getting blasted and it's not that salesy. Barry runs a trading room, a community. And again, it's one of the best things on the internet. It's probably the most underutilized, but I'll tell you what, you see this number is 162. It's close to 300 now, almost the whole day, and growing, and I'm sure it's going to get it into the thousands. So incredible opportunity for you to get started literally risk-free. And then again, social media. Okay, there's another part, Brad, that I just wanted to address. You know, it's not just about sharing on social media, but it's about tracking social media. So what really makes Trade Ideas completely different than everybody else is that we make our own market data. Without getting into too much details, the markets don't really provide you a lot of stuff. Okay, they don't. They provide you the prints and the timestamps and 52-week highs and daily highs and lows. But what about the rest? So we've been doing all of this incredible development, and we not only apply it to market data, which is called structured data, but also unstructured data. So we connect to stock twits, and every single tweet about any single stock that's on stock twits is tracked by our software on our server farm in San Diego. And that allows us to see when is there unusual trading activity in terms of not only price, but when people are talking about it. So here you can see that LNCO, okay, which was a small stock, had huge percentage increase in social activity. And you can follow, again, it's not only small penny stocks, this is what is going on socially. And people always talk about, well, what about sentiment? Well, you know what the beauty is? When you have activity and price, that equals sentiment. It's a very simple formula that nobody has to think too hard about figuring out. So here's BTU, okay, which was, you know, getting annihilated, being talked about 700 times more than normal, and I guarantee you, most people were saying that this thing stinks, okay? So, again, this channel surfing, which was only recently added since, Brad, when did we add the channel bar?
It's about a year old.
Okay, a year ago. So this channel bar, that's all part of the $99 product. And not only that, but you know, and this is the beauty of it. You know, everything I'm showing you, and again, we have limited time because I don't want to take up too much of your time, but everything is already set up. You've got the expert setups, but anything you want, you can create your own. New alert window, you know, if I want to see, like, since I'm going to start from scratch and just show you, if I want to create a 20-day, you know, I love that, you know, Nelson is asking about moving averages. The reason we don't plot them, okay, on a chart, at least not right now, we will, but the reason we don't is because we already track them on our server. So here I can be notified every single time a stock between the price of $5 and $25 crosses that 200-day moving, 20-day moving average when it's up at least 0.5% and has traded at least 200,000 shares. So I'm going to call this for Nelson, and I'm going to hit OK. Okay, so here's the window, and it's possible nothing has happened. Although, Brad, I'm sure that's not the case, is it? But of course, we don't really have any idea what. Oh, here it is. Sorry, we're just waiting. So here are all the stocks that have crossed that 20-day moving average with volume. Okay, and you can look them up. The thing is this, guys, and Nelson, I'm going to tell you why we don't spend a lot of time putting this on charts and putting all these. tools because you don't need them. You know, imagine that you're in a Tesla self-driving car. Why do you need a stick shift? Think about that for a minute. You are in a Tesla self-driving car, but you're asking for the stick shift. That's the thing, guys. The world is changing around us. Don't worry about plotting moving averages. You know why? Because there's nothing that you get from a moving average plot other than the fact that you can see it. A moving average has no, it's not determinant. It does not indicate that a stock will go up or down. It just is. Now, there is some of the, you know, self-perpetuation part of it. But again, don't get too excited about that because ultimately our software will tell you if a 20-day moving average works or not. So Brad, for my finale, and by the way, let me know again if there's new questions or not new questions. So, you know, again, we talked, so I just, by the way, closed my window, right? But I can go right back to my recent settings and you're never lost. Here I am, back to, did I say Fornhouse? No, I didn't. I didn't double click. So recent settings, and okay, here we are. For Nelson, the question that all of the trade ideas advanced functionality allows you to do is the following. So how am I so certain? Okay, how am I certain that this 20-day moving average isn't worth a plot on my graph? I mean, that's a great question, right? We all want, why am I so certain? Well, I will tell you why. I'm going to right click. I'm going to select backtest, which again is something that's available to the higher functioning part of the product. I'm going to say that 15 minutes after the open, remember I'm in California, and no more than, let's say at 11, which is 2 hours before the close. I'm assuming you're a doctor, a lawyer, or you have some other job. Maybe this is your specific time to buy or sell. And I'm going to, you know, just say, okay, since maybe some of you are like, well, I'm not a day trader. Okay, that's okay. How about this? After 5 days, and I'm going to hit simulate buy. Okay, so let me show you something. So this is, again, the importance of having data. So we just ran through 849 simulations, and truthfully, 60% is pretty darn good. And this profit factor. But here's the problem, okay? Look at what you would have had to live through to get there. See, like, that's called impossible. Nobody would be able to do that. So even though you're catching a tailwind right now from the 18th, you were in some deep doo-doo over here. But what our technology does, and this is, again, the innovation, the revolution, is our artificial intelligence looks at all of these trades, looks at all of these trades and these, and figures out what about them made it work. Was it the symbol? Was it the time of day? Was it the price? Or was it other factors like the 20-day moving average? Let's take a look at that. Brad, is that SMA?
Yeah, I don't know. Up a little bit, I think.
Up. So again, notice again, you
can
can test.
Change, under change.
Change, SMA.
20 period, yeah, right about there.
Where is it? Oh, 20 day.
20-day SMA, up a little bit. You can decide whether it's intraday or daily, right?
Daily. Okay, sorry guys. I mean, we have so much stuff. Come on. Boom. Okay. So interval. Brad, what's a good interval for SMAs? You're the master of this stuff.
Well, something like this, if you're looking at it, I'd break it into 0.5. I think that's a good start because then you'll fill up your screen with the different thresholds right there.
Okay.
Yeah, and so looking at anything over 2.5% doesn't look as appealing.
That's right. So you can see the sweet spot is right here, right? Everyone see that? So this is the sweet spot, and our AI automatically figures that out for you and then reconfigures the strategy so that you are always in the sweet spot. On the largest part, again, where it makes sense. There's a huge data mining process that goes into all of this, and I'm giving you just, again, the high-level example. But
Well, so Dan, this is what we put together about 7 years ago to allow the individual to go through and analyze it and optimize it. But you know what we do with the AI, what she can do by going through all this stuff at lightning speed, you know, with computing power, it's just you can't match that with a human. So, you know, that's the real value.
And then there's this whole process of not only doing that, but doing the proper type of testing. I mean, I will not get into it today, but that's really, again, what we're doing. This is what separates I go back to what we talked about. This is what separates the premium product from the Basic Trade Ideas Pro. In Basic Trade Ideas Pro, you can look at everything. You can discretionarily figure out what you want to do. You can configure it visually, do anything you want. But if you want the higher end functions, like the limit alerts, to be able to come in and say, oh, I like this. So, okay, so this is the last part. Sorry. Okay. So all these channels, you get these for free. And again, if you are looking at them, you can look it up, make notes, anything you want. Okay. But the beauty of the higher end functionality and why people channel surf, okay, is these channels give you ideas. So look, I can quickly look at this and I can say to myself visually, right, look, coming down, multiple double bottom, kind of W-looking pattern, went up, pulled back. Where's my limit alert? Right here. I mean, this is not a genius. I am not a genius. But I will be if this goes through there and keeps going. And again, remember, we don't want to screw it up like we did on CPXX.
So it's interesting, Dan. Mike's asking a question about a rule of thumb for a percentage pullback, and I'm sure you have your opinion, but for me, I don't think there's a standard answer for that. I think it depends on where that support and resistance lies on the chart.
Well, you're dovetailing right into probably the last and most important part of what we do for all of our clients. Okay, so EQGP. If I got into it this instant, if I want to be statistically sound, this is my pullback. It's called a smart stop, and it's designed for every single stock. So what I want to do for a demonstration, somebody in the audience, give me a symbol. Any symbol. Don't everybody do it all at once. Okay. ORPN. Okay. ORPN. How about this one? $2.45 if you want to not be random.
And you know, it's simple. That particular stock had such significant and huge relative volume today, which is one of the factors that we look to in the smart stop.
Okay, well, let's keep going. Again, just so this is education. Whole Foods, 29 cents. And notice, again, volatility, everything's being done for you. EPE, similarly, although percentage-wise, look, Whole Foods and EPE have the same stop, but look at the price difference. That's because of volatility, which is factored into the smart stop. And then OMER, okay? Another one, 25 cents. That number is not random. Although they're similar, that's not just, okay, well, we'll put in 25 cents. That has to do with that particular stock's volatility, range, everything. FLO. Again, very similar. A lot of stocks, by the way, behave similarly, and FLO happened to have been one of my decent limit alerts. So, again, this is just, we want to make good things simple for you. It should not be complicated where you can take, a symbol can come up. And again, this is the beauty and why this is big data and using your own mind but never losing anything. So MLDZ came across, I have no idea, blah, 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 quick, right click, breaking out. And that's it. You don't need to worry after that because you can be at the decision point. That's it. That's all I have. We've already ran through everything. Just a quick reminder, guys. Everything that I'm doing here, for everyone who is a customer of Trade Ideas, if you want my windows or my custom limit alerts, I share them. Okay, I share them with everybody. Remember that for a lot of the specifics of what Brad and I cover on Wednesday, Jamie and Steve, they can really dive into that in the office hours webinar, where you can learn the specifics of how to backtest a strategy or something else. Again, there's a lot of synergistic things with the company, and Brad and I try to steer you in the direction of like, come on, let's get alpha. The webinar that I'm doing today at 4:30 Pacific time, this is about where we're going to be covering tons of limit alerts, okay? So that we can all get into more of, I mean, again, so many of you have already been in this one. There's a perfect example. I mean, this was a limit alert, a trade of the week, and look, and here it is for you. This is what we're doing this for. There are people here that I know for a fact who have profited from this specific example. So, Scott, I think that's all we can do before we kill everybody with the timing. Let's have you finish up.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's talk about what we like to do to thank people for coming to our webinars. And that's give them the ability to save some money while signing up for Trade Ideas. Hopefully we were able to answer everyone's questions. And what I want to do is direct your attention to your GoToWebinar interface. And there's a handouts panel right there with a handy PDF that has the same information you're going to see on your screen on this one and the next one. So that code, it is case sensitive, Holly16, Holly 16. That does three things. It'll either take half off your first month, 20% off your first year, or 30% off that lifetime AI license. So if you want to get Holly and access to the AI and that backtesting tool, the Odds Maker, you can get it for just $770 lifetime. And combine that with a year, it's $710 for the first year. And I'll show you a way to make that very convenient purchase in a moment. Try us for a month, half off the first month, $49. There's no contract, no risk. Just get in. Go to Barry's trading room, learn how much better Trade Ideas is at capturing alpha than any other product out there. The code Holly16 is good through the end of business on Friday, so go ahead and take advantage of it. Here's a way for you to get, if you're a monthly subscriber or if you just want to get the whole deal right now, we have a package. It's $19.88 is the total cost. That's the $888 for the year plus $1,100 for the Odds Maker. However, if you use the code Holly16, the same one I was just talking about, you can save $500, over $508 immediately, so you get everything for $1480. Great way to upgrade from being on the monthly plan. You can go to the link that you see on the screen exactly as it's written, bit.ly/AI Holly. The AI Holly is case sensitive, needs to be all caps. That takes you directly to a page where you can buy all this with one click. So go ahead and take advantage of that. Any questions at all? Email us. This link and everything is also in that PDF handout. Email us, info@tradeIdeas.com. You can reach out to Dan directly. He's Dan at. If you follow us on Facebook, we sometimes post some unique things there at facebook.com/TradeIdeasPro. Likewise, Dan and our other Trade Ideas Twitter accounts also post unique things to the social media on Twitter. And you can follow Dan. He's at Trade Ideas 1, or the main Trade Ideas account is at Trade Ideas. You can call us during normal operating hours on the West Coast, but the best way to get support is the info@tradeIdeas.com email address. There'll be a recording of this available within about 24 hours to you, and you get an email update with the link. Thank you, everyone, for attending, and we'll see you in the next one.
Much appreciated.
Cheers, guys.
Please come to the webinar later today. We're going to go over some amazing stuff. So hope to see you then, and thank you once again, everyone.
Yep, cheers.